All right, we are ready to begin starting to make our belt. We're going to try and get the whole process all in one swoop here. So I'm going to go at it in a quite timely fashion, getting it going. So we had the strips cut through our other machine. This is the actual strip we're going to manufacture this belt. Doesn't look like much of a belt, but in about the next 3 or 4 minutes, it's going to look like a belt, and it would work like a belt without all the stains and dyes, which is all the finishing. So here we have the raw leather hide. We're going to take it, we're going to quench it in water. So if you come over here to my area here, I have a water bin here. I just run it quickly through the water. This isn't acid or anything, it's just plain water, so my fingers can touch it. It's not going to hurt a thing. Now it is because that makes the leather a little bit malleable, so it allows me to put the impressions into it. If I was to do it by hand, if I didn't have the machinery here, each belt would probably take me about a week to accomplish what I'm going to accomplish in about the next 10 seconds. So we're going to make this belt in 10 seconds, the design on it. It's going to go through my machine here. I am going to set it up so I have the proper pressure on it. And then we're going to put the design into the belt. So here we are. I'm going to line it up here. And I'm going to run it through. It's going to come through like spaghetti again. And here it comes. Here comes the design through it. Accomplish in 20 seconds what would take weeks to do here. Comes through. I just have to stop the machine in time. I forgot to show you one section of this. These rollers here, they come with dies. The dies are in these little bottles here I have. And I can set up each one. You can zoom right in on that. This is one of my floral eagle designs. This is one of 53 styles that I have. These are so rare to find, these rollers. If you guys do find any, give me a call. Let me know. I'm going to be on the way down to pick them up because they are so rare to find. So without these here, you're unable to make these belts. Here's the starting to look like a belt already, but it's got a little ways to go. So let's continue on here. We're going to go back to my machine over here. I mentioned when I took you through my shop about the tip of the belt having the starburst design on the end of my belt. I have a design here. It's pressed into it with thousands and thousands of pounds of pressure. And I just got to bring this lever up so I don't hit nobody, hurt nobody. It's going to come down on there. And I leave it in there. It's thousands of pounds of pressure now on that belt, holding that plate in place. It's going to put the design into the tip of the belt. Now as I remove that, I've got the tip of the belt in there. This is in here for life now, the belt. There's so many pounds of pressure and it's there to stay. So you don't want that design with a square end on the belt. So the way that we round off the tip to make it look more like a belt, and when we're going to do some finishing on that after, is I use this tip cutter. It's a blade here. It is placed on top of the leather, and I use, it's called a maul. It's like a hammer. When it's round, I'm going to give it a good smack, and we're going to knock the leather right out of it. And here it is. Breaks off of there. And we've got the tip on there, so you can actually see the tip. I'm just going to round off the edge a little bit, take the burr off of there, because the next thing, what's a belt without the holes? You'd have a hard time making it. So these holes here, I'm going to put in there in the next, if I rush over there, maybe within the next 10 seconds. I'm not very quick, but we'll head over to the machine. Come on over here. And I've got a machine here. This is all made by an individual. He made up all these machines for me prior to me taking this over. And I have to actually adjust the and center this because it was set up for 1 3/4 inches, so I didn't set that up ahead of time. So I am going to set this up now. And usually this is a pretty big process. I'm pretty accurate. Hopefully I'll have it straight here. I should have done this before we started the process, but I didn't. I'm not always the smartest in the world, but I managed to get by. Okay, so now I'm able to put my belt through here, and I can make these holes within seconds, whereas you'd be sitting there measuring. I have a tips on the edge to tell me how to space the holes apart. What I do is I put 7 holes in there. Some people may ask me why. I always tell them because there's 7 days in the week. So therefore you can use 1 hole each day. Yeah, that's just a rumor, but I have to have an answer for everything usually. So here we are. We're punching the holes. We almost have the holes in them up to 4th day, 5th day, 6th day, and we're coming to the end of the week here. Which means I'm at the end of the amount of holes that I need to put in my belt. And there we are. You're going to zoom in there once more to see where it is. This punches the holes right into the belt. I have to hold it down because it wants to lift up the belt. Now when I pull this out, I have all my holes in my belt. So it's starting to already resemble something like a belt. We're going to go over to this side over here. And I'm trying to turn my back to you guys because this is kind of, I guess not very nice to turn my back to. I try not to do that. Here I line it up, the center hole. That's where I want to get my client to fit. So if the person comes to me and, for example, they wear a size 38 pants, I always say go 2 sizes larger. So from that center hole measuring down on the tape here, you can see I have 38, 39, 40. So if they're size 38, I would cut that off at a size 40. And that will fit a person with 38 waist. So I'm just going to put a mark here. You're going to follow me over to my guillotine, which is over here. Very sharp. I just put it under here. I pull down onto it. And I have the cutoff of it. So that's the end of the belt. From there, I have to have the holes, and I'll explain how this will work later on, because this will tie into what we call the turnaround. So I'm going to put it through this machine over here. It's a brand new machine that my brother-in-law made, and I'm pretty excited with this new machine. The other one bit me once. I had my finger under there, and I actually punched a hole right through my nail. So this one I could do the same thing, but I'm more aware. And I won't do that again. I made an oath to myself that I would never, ever, ever do that again because it hurt so much. Okay, so now I've got the holes in the end. It's very raw. The edges are very sharp. Wouldn't be very comfortable. So from this point here, what we're going to do is I'm going to bring it back on the table here. Slide some of the stuff out of the way. And we're going to go about rounding off the edges to make it smooth. So I will start with the edge cutter here, and that curves the edges to make it nice and smooth. And here we are. If you zoom in as I'm going, you can see it taking off the sharp edges off the leather. This is part of the craft of making a nice comfortable belt. I will then turn it the other way, get the other side. We do all 4 edges. The back edges I tend to curve more because that's against your body, and you don't really want that digging in. Sometimes you buy a cheap belt and it's square and it digs into you. Well, these ones here, because of the shape of it, they're nice and comfortable. That's the one side. Now I'm going to round off this other side here. This one I don't do as much. I want to give it a bit of roundness so that you have a nice feel to the belt. So it's not going to feel like you're wearing a box around your waist. And it becomes very smooth. This is just the beginning. In this video, you're not going to see the finishing yet, but we will, however, have this picture of some of the finished belts. The finishing is what takes the most amount of time, and they're only giving me a day to show what I do. If you want to see some of the other stuff, like I say, you're always welcome to come down and visit us. This here's the belt, but we got a problem here. There's no end to put your buckle in. Now that's where I have these holes in here. I'm going to show you what I do from here. I'm going to come back over to the first station where I quenched the leather in the water, and we're going to make this here. This is called a turnaround. This goes around the belt and allows it to hold the buckle. I manufacture that for all the belts as well. So again, we come back to the raw piece of leather that we had, and I'm going to take this out of this die out of here now. I've got another die which is going to cut it for me. I'm going to slide this underneath. That's too big, so we've got to get another one. I have to find just the right one here. Here's the one over here. So I have to bring that up to the right height. Usually I will do a bunch of these at once, so it's a little bit of of a chore switching from one to the other. Maybe I'll even make 2 of these things to show you guys how it's made. I'm going to bring this up. This is going to cut this belt plug in half. I got to set it to the right setting to do the cutting. And this is the first plug cut out of there. We're on our way into making them. I'm going to, while I'm at it, I've got this other piece so it doesn't end up in the garbage. I'll quickly do that. So you're getting two views for the price of one here. This is where I get my Mr. Muscle from. Here it's all Armstrong. Keeps me in shape, as you notice. Okay, so we've got this here. Now I got to punch the holes in here instead of having to take each one and measure it. I have another tool that I use to make to line up the holes for me. And I'm going to set this up now. I'm going to quench these in water again so that it'll be able to put the indent in the leather. I want to put a little mark on there and put the curved indent onto the turnarounds. Here we go. Now I've set this up. I've put this plate on there. I'm now going to put an indent into each one. Bring it over to here. I'm going to bring it down. Let it sit for a couple of seconds. This is once again, this is thousands of pounds of pressure on there. When it's in there, it's not going anywhere. It's going to be there the rest of the life of the belt. If it pops out, come and see me. I'll replace it anytime for you. I've had nobody lose any piece. There it is right there. So now I have to punch that out while I'm here one more time. I'll do it one more time. The jig goes on top. It has the holes in there. I line it up on top. This has got more muscle than me when it comes to trying to push the indents into leather. So close it on the machine there. Let it sit for a couple of seconds. Bring it out. Lift it off. It's there. Okay, we still can't put the screws through here to put it on the belt. So what we have to do, I have to do manually. And what we're going to do here, we're going to come back over to this area over here. And I'm just going to put my belt to the side. We're going to actually put this belt together without the dies later on. And you'll see how it'll fit around the waist. This brick I'm going to bring back in with my maul. I have to punch these holes, so I got a handmade punch here. Make a little bit of noise, let people know I'm around. 4 holes to punch here. So notice it doesn't take a whole bunch of weight. It's a little bit of weight in the small. The small is really heavy. If somebody came into the shop and they gave me trouble, it would work pretty good. So a lot of weight on it. Okay, so anyways, here we've got to punch the center hole now. Punch that in there. Now we're ready to start putting this together onto the belt. I have a belt buckle here. Again, I don't like things being square. I like putting a little bit of effort into this. So it's something that's going to be, I'm proud of the stuff I make. So I want to make sure it's done really good and it's going to last. It's going to be nice and comfortable. I go and I round off the edges on here. Just an added bit of love I put into my products. Because pretty much everybody I make a belt for, they pretty much become my friends. You know, it's they become part of the family. It seems they're proud of what I make them because it's there for a long time. We're going to go around the edges, making it all nice and smooth, so there's no sharp edges on it. It looks like it was done from a machine that does them over and over. I just happen to be that machine itself. So anyways, we've got the turnaround here. This turnaround now goes through the belt here and picks up on the buckle. Before I do that, if I can find quickly, I do have a little bit of a mess of stuff around here, and I see it over on this side here. Another thing, like I say, I'm proud of the company. I want people to know about me. My customers giving reference is very vital for me, but I also put my stamp on the various items that I have, because sometimes I'm not around and they can't talk to me. So they'll show the belt and they'll say, gee, I got this belt, I can't remember where. And they'll say, oh, there's a logo on it. There's that silver logo that I showed you earlier on it. And there's also, I put another stamp on this part here. I'm going to make a bit of noise. And you shine in on here. I'm going to pull this off and you'll have a look at. There it is. There's my logo on the bottom. That's on the inside of the belt. So somebody really likes my belt down the line, which they usually do. They have something to show where the belt came from. They can give me a call because it has my phone number on it, the name of my company. So I've almost thought of everything. There's more stuff that I need help with from my customers to show better products, better items. So you never know everything. Here is a jar full of, these aren't candies. You don't want even too much iron in them. So here, these are called Chicago screws. These little puppies here allow you to be able to change your buckle, because a lot of belts you're not able to change buckles. This here, you can put your favorite buckle on at any time. I'm going to put this through here, and we're going to put it on here. And there's going to be one more item before we close off with this belt here. First of all, I'm going to fit it. This buckle is pretty thick here. Usually I'll use a little bit thinner on the leather, but I think I can make it out of here. It's very thick. My wife would be saying this is a little too thick for her to work with, but I'm going to try and put this together here right now. There's the beginning of it. Okay, so now you've got the belt. It's going to go through here, but we've still got one little problem, which we're going to address right now. Goes through there, but this just flops open. So each one has a keeper. Okay, that's the turnaround. We're going to make the keeper. Actually, the keeper's already made, and it's done through the same roller that we do the belts. I have another machine here, and it takes the little round piece here. Again, we're just going to quickly do this here because, like I said, I don't like the square edges on my belts. We're going to taper off the edges on it, make it round. And we'll probably keep the camera rolling because I do have a couple of belts just off to the side with this various design. And there are going to be a black belt. There's going to be a couple of colored belts made with this very same design. We're going to come over here quickly. We're going to fit it into this machine. This here holds the keeper for me. I showed you the strip of leather, I do believe. I'm allowed to take my fingers. I can take my fingers off now. It's holding it in place. I take a little staple here. It's very small. I have good dexterity to place the staple into there. From there, I pull the lever down. It pushes the staple into the leather keeper, and you've got it holding it. So now what we will do here is we will go back to the belt to complete it. We will slide this over here. We will fit the keeper, the Chicago screw rather, into the hole to hold the other part of the keeper onto the belt. Put the screw in, and it's ready to go. It's ready to be fastened up. The only thing it is missing is a client like yourself to come over and actually put it around your waist. Hopefully someday I'll be able to do that, and you'll be able to experience one of the finest belts in the industry. So here it is here. This is in its raw shape. This is without the finishes on it, without the colors in it, without the shine. So we started out, when you first looked at it, it was this right here. It was a piece of leather like this here. Didn't look like a belt at all. Look what we've turned this into within minutes. So that's how I make the belt. I'm going to show you now. I have some on the other side here, and these are the belts that have been created earlier with this same style, with the same leathers. Here's a black one with the design in it. This one here sells for $65 for its price. Usually they sell for around $100. The part that I cut off, I used to make wristbands, which I will show you later because we're doing belts now. This is actually, by making the wristbands out of the other part, I am able to keep my price down at $65 instead of $100 on a belt. So it's a great savings for my customers, which when I can save my customers money, I know they're going to come back for more. As we scan along here, here's a few other colors. The colors are they're unlimited, the different color combinations we can do. And the two middle ones, they would run at $80. The one with all the hand painting, this is all hand painted, and in the golds and the reds and all that, that's all done by hand, and then the shines all put to them. A lot more work into that one. That one would go at $125. And I can also make wider belts for people that like the 1 3/4. And I might be, before we close this off, I'm going to see if I can find one. I think I might have one which I can see. Hopefully I see it. Here's the 1 3/4. And this one is already sold to the customer. This one here is a little bit wider. You're going to have to look through the plastic. Because like I say, this is all set up for him to come pick it up. You see the small 1 1/4, 1 1/2. One more thing that we do, if you want it gift wrapped, you want it as a present for Father's Day, we can have it boxed in a box here, ready for you to go with our packaging on there. Here's the way we package it. Pretty professional looking, and it comes in a box even, so it's nice and packaged. So you think he's going to think you made him a cake. So he'll be disappointed a little bit when all he gets is a cake, but when he opens up his little prize here, his little present that you may come, it can be put into a nice little box like this here. And I'm just going to get it all going here. And have a nice little cake. Like I say, it's a piece of cake. I love making belts for people. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope I can make something that's going to stand the test of time for members of the family, and for the special father or dad in the family. I hope I can do that for you. It'd be a real honor. Thank you very much.